Since ancient times, the lending of money at interest has attracted attention, discussion, and condemnation. Aristotle wrote that interest, the birth of money from money, is the most unnatural way to accumulate wealth. By the 1700s and 1800s, the rise of economic thinking associated with figures such as Adam Smith, David Ricardo, and Karl Marx saw the development of new theories of the rate of interest. Some noted the similarity between interest on lending and the profits of enterprise, such as building a factory or embarking on a colonial expedition. In each case, a sum of cash is surrendered at one point in time on the expectation that a greater sum will be recouped in the future. And in both cases, there is a risk that some or all of one's money may be lost. Some theories of interest, therefore, emphasize the psychological aspects of lending or saving. In choosing not to spend on consumption now, people hope to consume more in the future. Interest thus appears to be the reward for patience or for abstinence. But others noted that in order to be patient with your wealth, you first need to be wealthy. The poor cannot very well choose not to spend. Likewise, evidence of abstinence among the wealthy is hard to come by. Those who believe in the parallel with investment in enterprise also emphasize technology. If patience determines the supply of money for lending, then the prospective returns on creating new productive machinery determines the demand for borrowing. And these returns, so the story goes, depend on the state of technological advancement. Time is therefore crucial. Time of abstinence, the time needed to build new productive capacity or to produce consumption goods. Interest, it appears, is the very price of time. These ideas regard interest as driven by so-called real factors, the patience of savers and the technological constraints on business investment. But what then of money? It seems fairly obvious that interest is connected to money and that money is connected to banking. When the central bank imposes high interest rates, the policy is referred to as tight money. Some have therefore argued that the rate of interest has less to do with preferences and technology and more to do with money and banking. Keynes argued that the rate of interest is not the price of real productive capital, it is instead the price of illiquidity. Faced with an uncertain future, people will wish to hold their wealth in a readily accessible liquid form, such as cash or bank deposits. Interest, then, is the reward for giving up this liquidity and holding wealth in less liquid but more productive forms. Some go further and argue that the true meaning of interest is to do with its distributional consequences. The rate of interest determines the relative incomes of creditors and debtors. These debates remain unresolved. The conventional view is that the natural rate of interest is determined by so-called real factors such as people's impatience, technological capacity, and demographics. In this view, the central bank should try to set the policy rate of interest equal to this natural rate. If it sets it lower than the natural rate, inflation will be the result. Others reject the idea of an unobservable magic number that somehow brings the whole economic system, the past and the future, into equilibrium. Instead, it is argued, the rate of interest is a policy tool set by publicly owned central banks, and it can be set at any one of a range of levels. The rate of interest should therefore be set such as to limit the incomes of the wealthy, to facilitate the flow of credit for socially useful activity, and to enable governments to undertake the investment needed to confront the threat of climate